Shall we go anywhere or no later than a specific date?
Motion to have a date.
It's up to the council.
Councilor Durham, please.
Thank you. I think perhaps just a direction to staff to place this item on the committee of the whole at the earliest possible opportunity.
Second.
All right.
Is that you?
I think we're just going to go with the question on this one, right? Okay. I see smiling faces here. All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. Okay. So that was the amendment, right? Madam Clerk, are we on the motion yet?
Mr. Mayor, we would be back to the main motion.
Good.
Yes.
All right. So, I've waited a long time to speak. Most of it's been said.
Yes.
One of the disadvantages of, before I call the question, let me just have a comment here. One of the disadvantages of sitting on council is you can't watch other councils on the same night. And many councils in town meet on Monday nights. And I was taking a look at a revised resolution that was put forward by Councillor Murdoch, Kevin Murdoch at Oak Bay. And what he wrote was, whereas Oak Bay would be significantly impacted by any changes to regional governance. That's pretty strong. And whereas Oak Bay has not yet been invited to participate in a province-led amalgamation study, therefore be resolved that the Mayor send a letter to the Minister of Community, Sport and Cultural Development requesting that the District of Oak Bay be included as a stakeholder in any amalgamation study of Greater Victoria municipalities. So for me that's quite interesting because here we have a municipality that feels it has a lot to risk and there's a lot at stake. It's quite willing to be part of a study even though it hasn't defined it as such. We have defined it here as such through the terms of reference, and I wonder with so many other municipalities that are participating in this to date, are we any smarter than that? Have we heard from residents that are more informed or not? And I don't think we can weigh that, but I am quite happy to see the council debate this and include this terms of reference as a concept in this letter. I think it was something that if it had come up in earlier discussion, other councils might have put this forward as well. So I see this as informing the process. For me, on my personal vote on supporting this study, I go back to the question itself, not our question, but the fact that all the municipalities that had a question on the ballot had a different question, which to me speaks to the discord and the inability to make a collective decision quickly and to align around things, while it also respects our individuality and the character and nature of our municipalities. So for me, I really don't know what the outcome is going to be and what's best for us. But personally, I can support a study. I've always been on the record as wanting to support a study, and whether it has a terms of reference attached before we ask for, or whether it does not. I do have some faith that the province will walk with us down that road hand in hand and not simply force something upon us. While amalgamation is not something that can be forced on municipalities, it is just something that's on the books right now. And it was in the past, and it could come again. So we really have to look at this in terms of partnership, and not as the children looking up and saying, this is exactly what we want, and we're not going to participate otherwise. There is a relationship that we have to build here, and I think we have to be open to what may come forward, whether we are unaware of it or not, and we haven't had it defined as well. So on that, I will support that, and I will call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. So the last item on our agenda is the Capital Region District Activities Update. And with that, I will walk down the row, and I'll start with Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm the chair of the CRD Environment Committee, and I'm also CRD liaison to the roundtable on the environment. I'm just going to report on a couple of things. So at the Environment Committee, we did pass a motion that we would host a workshop with municipalities, electoral areas, and senior government to discuss risk management options to reduce and prevent leaks from residential oil tanks. Staff are currently working on that, and we've captured Sanich's recommendation for a couple of other agencies to be part of that workshop. We are continuing our participation and support in the Georgia Basin Interregional Education Initiatives. These are really important initiatives, and I'm pleased we're back supporting them. On Wednesday, we will be receiving a report from the CRD Roundtable on the environment around invasive plant species management in the CRD. The issue is that invasive species continue to spread in the CRD, and it has environmental, social, and economic impacts for the region. The Roundtable sponsored a Rural Roads University student project entitled Invasive Species in the CRD Best Practices. The report lists a number of issues. The Roundtable members acknowledge the outstanding work of the Coastal Invasive Species Committee, CRISP, which is chaired by Saanich. However, they remain concerned that there's a lack of regional coordination for the disposal of invasive species. And I remember my colleague, Councillor Sanders, raised it around our green organic pickup, around invasives getting into that. And there is no single regional source of public education to ensure the public and private interests in the region are aware and educated as to the impacts of invasive species. The recommendation is that we ask staff to provide a report back on the current status of invasive species management in the region, disposal methods that currently exist, and a coordination of education that is available. The other key thing that the Roundtable is doing is they'll be bringing forward, they're working on an energy strategy for the region, which I think will have a lot of value for a lot of us. And that will, I've invited them to do a presentation at the Environment Committee, so they're working on that. I'm also a member of the Trans Mountain Pipeline Expansion Working Group. Last year I brought a motion to the CRD board that we apply for intervenor status in the National Energy Board hearing on this issue, and the board supported this motion. Subsequent to that, we were given commentator status, and we are currently finalizing our letter to the National Energy Board on this issue. There are key issues that we are going to highlight, such as real risk currently exists to the economic and ecological health of the area, moving safety zone to be designated for boats of a certain size so that commercial fisheries could continue with their business. There's the issue of providing extra tug service through our waters, oil spill response time and plan for our waters, cleanup costs, and the capabilities of local jurisdictions like our islands. They only have a volunteer fire department, so they do not have hazmat on those islands, so that's a real issue. Our focus is to the potential environmental and social economic effects of the marine shipping activities that would result from the proposed project, including the potential effect of accidents or malfunctions that may occur. The CRD is opposed to the project largely because of the environmental and economic risks far outweigh any potential benefits to the region, and the long-term impacts of an oil spill in our waters are almost immeasurable. In the event of a spill, the CRD is also concerned there is no evidence of sufficient response plan, nor dedicated resources to place to ensure a quick and effective response. This commentator response will be reviewed by us on Wednesday and forwarded to the next board meeting. It was interesting, we did meet with the National Energy Board. We had a special meeting with them. What was fascinating is the National Energy Board is only responsible for the movement of the product in the pipe on land. Once it gets to the water, that's Transport Canada. And the response, because it's shipping, and then the spill response is the responsibility of the Coast Guard. So many tentacles in this little project. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councillor Brennan. Councillor German?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm a regional director and on the CRD board, and there have been two really important processes that the board has been embarking on so far this year. One was to update a strategic plan that tries to look at what kinds of things the board and staff under board direction will concentrate on trying to accomplish in this 4-year term. And the other one is the ongoing process to renew the regional growth strategy and develop it into something called the regional sustainability strategy. That is an absolutely critical document that we get right. There are a number of things that it can set the stage for in this region. One is our response to global issues, and climate change in particular. And after some work, I think I had a significant role in getting the board to agree to the fact that climate change would be one of the major goals of this particular iteration of the RGS. When the RGS was first put together, climate change was much less in the public eye at that time. It's a huge issue, and no, we won't solve it by ourselves, but if every community around the world took the attitude of no, we won't solve it by ourselves, then nobody would do anything. And in fact, it will be best solved by literally thousands and probably tens of thousands around the communities around the world taking the necessary action to solve it. Beyond that, there are issues of local sustainability that we really need to get right. We need to understand the consequences of the land use choices we make and the importance of getting them correct. As a councillor over the last 10 years or so, probably the number one issue that's come before me from the public has been the growing congestion and traffic problems that they see in the region. That comes up so frequently, whether it's the 5-way intersection over at Interurban or whatever it might be. Well, all that traffic is the consequence of land use decisions. Put people in the wrong place, require them to use their car to get there, and you're going to have traffic problems. Continue to do it, and you'll have worse traffic problems. We have an excellent modeling capability down at the CRD that looks and says if we do business as usual, then within 15 to 20 years, we will have turned the Trans-Canada Highway from uptown out to the western communities into a very large, very slow-moving parking lot. And the average trip time for residents